Hello, my name is Madam Jennifer from Educare TZ. Welcome my lovely Form 3 students in our biology subject, and we are going to discuss on our lovely topic known as classification of things. I know that you are aware on the term classification as you already discussed in your Form 1, in your Form 2, and in our today's session we'll discuss on the classification system where we will look on the major division of the kingdom Plantae, which is division Coniferophyta as well as division Angiospermophyta. Now you are welcome. By starting with our first subtopic, which is division Coniferophyta, where we will look those trees or plants which have the cone-like cone-shaped plants without it. We look on the cone-shaped plants or trees without enclosement within the ovary, meaning that they have the naked seed. So the Coniferophyta is one of the division of the plant, and the plants under the division Coniferophyta are sometimes called coniferous plants or conifers. So shortly, Coniferophyta, you can term it as the cone plants or the Coniferophyta. So conifers are known as cone-bearing plant. Why are they called the cone-bearing plant? This is because they produce seed which are spirally arranged in the cone-like structure. And formerly, this division was known as Gymnospermae. So let us look on how this name was derived. The term Gymnospermae was derived into two Greek words, the gymno, which means the naked, and spermae, which means the seed. So shortly, the conifers or Coniferophyta plant, these are plants that contain naked seed, meaning they are not enclosed within the ovary. Kwa unapokuwa tunazungumzia Coniferophyta au cone plant, ni zile plant ambazo zina shape ya cone like, as you see the cone is there how their seed looks like, lakini their seed are naked, meaning that are not enclosed within the ovary. So, but they arranged spirally to give the shape of the cone. So their seed arranged spirally kuweza kupatia ile shape la cone. So this Coniferophyta have sieve cell and albuminous cell which facilitate the movement of food in conifers. Kwa hizi hapa conifers wanakuwa wana sieve cell pamoja na albuminous katika phloem, ambapo kazi yake ni katika movement of food in plants kwa ajili ya survival na vile kwa ajili ya storage. So example of the conifers ni kuna Caesarean, the spruce, the cedar, pines as well as cypress. Plus these are example of the cone plant or conifers. And this is the structure or picture demonstrating the nature of the cone plant. Here you see that these small seeds like this are cone seed which are naked and not enclosed within the ovary. Also, they have needle-like shaped leaves, which is an adaptation to reduce the transpiration. Also, they are very greenish and contain chlorophyll for photosynthesis process. I know that you are familiar with this particular kind of the cone plants. Mara nyingi zinapatikana sana katika mazingira yetu. Now, and this is a spruce tree. This spruce tree ni mara nyingi inatumika sana katika misimu ya Christmas, inakuwa inatumika wa Christmas mara nyingi tunakuwa tunaita. These are the example of the cone plant. So, what are the general features of the Coniferophyta? Tutajuaje sasa hii Coniferophyta au conifers wanakuwa wana sifa zipi ambapo tukiziona tunajua kwamba hawa hapa ni kina cone plant. So the first one, they are non-flowering seed-bearing plants, meaning that how producing flowers. So there is not that kind of pollination, and that's why they are naked plants, meaning that they produce naked seed which are not enclosed within the ovary, and that's why they are called non-flowering plants. Also, they produce naked seed in which are not enclosed in the ovary, kwa sababu they do not produce flower. Also, they have reproductive structure called cones. The reproductive structure are called as cones, and this reproductive structure differs depending on the species, either a male or the female. Normally, the male one, their cones or seed appears in the clusters. And now There are female and male cone, and the male are smaller and occur in clusters, while female are larger and have compound structure and are attached to leaf-like scale of the cone. So this type of the cone tree differ depending either on the male or the female tree. Where how to determine the male one? Usually male one are smaller and occur in cluster, lakini the female one ni larger and their seed occur in the compound shape. Lakini hapa yenyewe inatokea katika cluster ambayo inatengeneza cone like structure. And the fertilization in conifer does not require water. Instead, male gametes are carried by wind or instinct female organ. Now, meaning that these cone plants are wholly adapted to the terrestrial environment. They does not require water for fertilization to take place. Instead, they are wind-pollinated plants, meaning that they depend on the wind so as to carry their gamete to the female flower kwa ajili ya fertilization to take place. Also, they have simple xylem with only tracheids. These plants have simple xylem with only tracheids. Tracheids is found for this lower gymnospermae plant, meaning that they are soft-wooded plants. These soft-wooded plants, they have only tracheids and lack xylem vessel element. So, and the conducting element with no vessel element. So, they have no vessel element, and that's why they are sometimes called the soft-wooded plants. And normally usually used in paper like. Also, their phloem tissue-like companion cell is still they associate with albuminous cell. So their phloem tissue, since they are gymnosperm, so they do not have companion cell. Companion cell, this is also used for protein synthesis as well as there for storage of material. So since they are gymnosperm, they do not have this companion cell. Instead, they use this albuminous cell for movement of food. Also, they are needle-like or scaly leaf with the thick cuticle for protection and reduction of water loss. They have needle-like shaped leaves with the thick cuticle. Thick cuticle na contain waxy material called cotton kwa ajili ya minimize the rate of transpiration, vile vile kwa ajili ya protection. Also, conifers are widely distributed found in area with the cold climate. It is widely distributed. Inapatikana katika maeneo mengi, lakini inapatikana sana katika maeneo yenye ubaridi, na mara nyingi they are used in forming the green forest. And now, what are the distinctive features of the Coniferophyta? Sasa hizi hapa ni sifa ambazo zinakuwa zinamtofautisha Coniferophyta from other members of the kingdom Plantae or from other members of the divisions Plantae. Now, the first one, these plants bear cones from which microspore or pollen grain and megaspore ovule are produced. So hizi hapa zinakuwa zina bear cones, ambazo hizi hapa cones ni nectar seed, ambazo microspore, this mean the male gamete, or kwa jina lingine tunazita pollen grain, and megaspore, this the female gamete or ovule are produced. So their seed are produced in the cones. Also, the pollen grains develop air bladder-like structure which facilitates the movement of pollen by wind. These plants are wind-pollinated, meaning that they depend on the wind to carry their gamete to the female for fertilization. So, as an adaptation to wind pollination, their microspore develop this air bladder which facilitates the movement of pollen by wind for fertilization process. Also, they have nectar seed which are not enclosed within the ovary. As the term also identified, they are gymnosperm, meaning that they are nectar seed since they are non-flowering plant. Also, the mature seed are typically winged. The matured seed are typically winged. This is an adaptation for the wind pollination. So zikisha kuwa mbegu zake zinakuwa zina wing-like structure as adaptation for the wind pollination. Means they can be carried from one place to another by wind kwa ajili ya fertilization. Also, they have seed borne in cone and not in fruit. Since they are non-flowering plants, meaning that their seed are produced or are found within the cones, cone-like structure. Now, what are the structure of the pine? Pine is one of the species of the division Coniferophyta. So the pines are the conifers which have needle-shaped leaves, have thick and scaly bark, and are evergreen. They form the green forest. So they are among of the most familiar coniferous tree which can thrive in temperate and tropical region. These plants are capable of thriving in different climatic region, especially sasa wapatikana katika cold area. Vile vile wanaweza wakafunde katika temperate and these tropical regions. The conifers live longer than others. Wanaweza kuweza kuishi kwa muda mrefu than other tree species. Also, the male conifers are relatively soft, herbaceous and small, while female con are woody, large and relatively larger. This meaning that the male con meaning that it has trached only, while this female con with the woody meaning that this has vessel element, that's why it's very hard. Lakini huyu hapa male ana soft wood meaning that ana lack ile vessel element, ambapo vessel element katika xylem ndio inasaidia sana sana katika formation of the hardwood. And this is the example of the male con. We see that they occur in clusters of corn, as you see here. Hizi hapa hii hapa ni corn, lakini within the here ndio kuna hizo neckless seed. As you see, they occur in cluster. Lakini kwa female zenyewe zinatokea natengeneza compound like structure zinapatikana katika leaves. And this is a structure of the female cones ambazo zinapatikana katika compound like structures you see here, zinapatikana sana sana kwenye matawi. So now you can distinguish between the male and the female cone. Now, structurally, pines are made up of fruits, stem and leaves. All trees are made of the main tree part, ambao kuna mzizi, kuna shina vile vile pamoja leaves, ambao roots kazi yake ni kwa ajili ya penetration and absorption of water. Vile vile leaves kwa ajili ya photosynthesis pamoja na stem kwa ajili ya conduction of material and aerial support of the plant part. Also, the stem of pines is thick and scaly, but some species have thin bark and produce several branches that appear inward. Kwa hiyo shina la pines mara nyingi huwa ni thick as adaptation to reduce the water loss. Vile vile some as the thin bark vile vile wana produce several branches, lakini hizi hapa several branches na pia katika whole. Kwa mfano ukiangalia katika mchicha, zile mbegu za mchicha the way zinapokuwa zinapia, that is known as whorl. So the center of the stem is called pith. The center or the cortex of the stem or the ground tissue of the stem inaitwa pith. And it is made up of several concentric rings called annual rings. So these annual rings are the one which are responsible for the expansion of for the secondary thickening or expansion of the thickness of the tree. Now, what are the advantages of the coniferophyta or conifers? You have already covered on the concept of the division coniferophyta. We will look on their general characteristics, also their distinguishing characteristics which distinguish them from other members of the kingdom Plantae. Also, we have seen the structure of the pines. Now, what are the advantages of the kingdom or of the division coniferophyta? The first one, they produce useful timbers called softwood. They lack vessel elements, meaning that they have only tracked wood. Therefore, they are soft-wooded plants which are used in the different building process by producing soft timber. Also, conifers are home to many birds and animals. Conifers are mostly found in this cold region area where they form the evergreen forest. Evergreen forest inatengenezwa kijani nzuri, na forest one of the ecology for different group of the organism. Kwa mfano ndege, wadudu. Also, they are used to produce wood pulp for paper making. Vile vile, they are used to make wood products such as furniture. Vile vile wanatupatia wood products, kwa mfano female corn ambazo tunatumia kutengeneza furniture, kwa mfano viti, vitanda, meza na vile vile the turpentine is used as cleaning agent for painting as well as production of disinfectant and insecticide as product of conifer. This is one of the latex which is found in the conifer. So this two pattern is one of the latex which is released from the conifers ambayo tumeweka katika cleaning agent, vile vile katika painting kutengeneza rangi, vile vile ni katika production ya disinfectant. Disinfectant hapa ni chemical ambayo tumeweka katika kuondoa a particular unwanted material katika solution. Vile vile insecticide, madawa kwa ajili ya kuua wadudu katika mimea. Zote are one of the importance of the advantage of the coniferous fighter. Also they are used as firewood, hence source of heat. Vile vile viberiti tunavitengeneza kutoka katika this softwood coniferous plant. Vile source of food to organisms such as insect. Vile vile conifers inatumika kama source of food for insect. Also many pinus species plants are ornamental when planted on peak and garden. Vile vile tumia kama urembo. Kwa mfano ukienda katika garden, ukienda milimani, inatumika kama urembo, inakuwa inavutia ikitengeneza ile evergreen. Just take an example, those were Christmas, how it look like. Also cypress are commercial grown and harvested for decoration during festivals such as Christmas. Cypress one of the Christmas tree ambao inapandwa kwa ajili ya biashara na inakuwa inavunwa sana sana kipindi cha sikukuu kama Christmas kwa ajili ya kuwa kivutio au kama urembo. Also conifers clean atmosphere. Conifers are green plants, are photosynthetic plants, so they clean out the atmosphere by performing the photosynthesis process whereby they consume carbon dioxide as one as the raw material for photosynthesis and release out the oxygen kwa ajili ya respiration for human being and other bacteria. And now what are the disadvantages of the coniferous fighter? The conifers forest completely shade the ground and prevent the growth of other plants. These plants are known for forming the evergreen forest, meaning that they grow longer, na vile vile wanakuwa wanatengeneza thick evergreen forest, meaning that wana prevent these small trees from growing kwa sababu wanakuwa wanazikinga from receiving the sunlight. Also wood products from conifers are soft and can be easily attacked by termites because these conifers lack the vessel element, meaning that they produce the soft wood ambao ni rahisi kuwa attacked kwa mfano kama termites. Also they are needle-like thorny leaves that are prick and can cause injury. Haya majani ambao ni needle-like shaped, zipo kama miba, inaweza ikachoma mtu, vile vile ikasababisha ajali au ikasababisha kidonda kwa mtu. Also resins which are produced by pines can catch fire easily. Resins, these are one of the latex which are produced by pines, meaning that in case